Hi everyone, hi Boston. This is Concepto from Boston Neighborhood Network Studios here in Eggleston Square. This segment today we're going to dedicate to education. As you know, there are a number of, in the thousands, 34,000 students trying to get into a charter school. Specifically in the urban areas, a lot of students that would like to go to a school of their choice have been left in waiting lists. And for that, today I have a principal in one of the charter schools in the area who are currently looking for teachers for high school, from what I hear. Today we have John Clark. He is the co-founder of the Brooke Charter School System. I would like to welcome him.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here, Mr. Aguilar.
Ok, les decía, amigos, de que este es su programa Concepto. Tengo a John Clark. Él es el principal y un fundador de las escuelas Brooke aquí en Boston. Vamos a estar hablando con él la próxima hora en lo que se refiere a educación. Hay como 34,000 estudiantes esperando en una lista de espera para poder entrar a una de estas escuelas. Tell me, why is that there are 34,000 students on a waiting list trying to get into a school of, I would say, their choice, and that's not being the case. The students have been left out of their school of their choice, basically, and they're stuck right now in some of the public schools, which right now are under hard criticism for having such low scores and having a high school dropout.
Yeah, that wait list number of 34,000 kids is across the state. That's the number of kids who are on charter waiting lists. I think it's just, and as you pointed out earlier, the bulk of those students are in cities like Boston and other gateway cities, where our schools have, where there's just not enough good schools, to put it quite simply, and particularly in terms of how our schools are doing educating young kids of color in the city, and too many families who don't have great schools to send their kids to. And so that 34,000 number is just one indicator of that fact. But I think it's something that people in our communities have known for a long time now, that our schools in our cities aren't good enough and aren't doing a good enough job of preparing our kids to succeed in life. So.
Él decía que son 34,000 estudiantes a nivel del estado de Massachusetts, que particularmente la mayoría de estos estudiantes están en zonas urbanas, son personas de color, como latinos, como personas afroamericanas. Él se da cuenta de que este problema ha estado allí por mucho tiempo, ya por varios años, y pues no es una cosa que haya pasado de la noche a la mañana. So you're saying that this is something that has been going on in our neighborhoods for quite some time. When you say quite some time, meaning 20, 25 years?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put a number on it. I mean, I think the easier way to think about it and talk about it is the fact that, for most of our families who are desperately trying to find great schools for their kids, they're very dissatisfied with their own education. And in many cases, their own parents were very dissatisfied with the education that they received. And that's Boston, but this is not a problem that's unique to Boston. I mean, if we look around our country, there's no major urban system that's a high-performing urban system. So it's our problem, and it's our responsibility in our community to fix, but we have to understand it in the larger context, that this has been kind of a national failure.
I see. Recently, there was the 20th anniversary for charter schools in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. From what I understand, there is a number of schools that have opened the doors. However, it falls short to the number of people trying to really get into the schools. The numbers are appalling as far as having this long list and having legislators' reaction to it. 3 years ago, this came to the table. It was voted down. But since then, parents have re-energized themselves, have organized themselves. There are other community organizations that are advocating for it. we have a Governor Baker, who is actually advocating for it because he sees that education is something that we really need to revamp in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So you're referring to the last time the legislature considered lifting the cap on charters, which was 2014.
Correct.
And it was voted down. Yeah, what's different now is that I think there's several things that are different. Like you said, we have a supportive governor now, which matters a ton. There's a ballot initiative that will go on the ballot come November that would lift the cap on charters. That we didn't have in 2014. I'm one, and most people I know in the charter community would much prefer to have a legislative solution rather than see this go to a ballot initiative, because if we have a legislative solution, there's so much more that we can do. But a ballot initiative is a very straight up or down. Are we simply going to lift the charter cap or not? And would certainly prefer that to nothing. But would much prefer that we see a legislative solution that helps to do a lot more around addressing the needs of our families and our kids. And a charter cap lift is a super huge and important part of that, but it's by no means the limit of the work that we all have to do to make our schools better for our kids.
So a lot of people oppose the proposal by Governor Baker of having 12 schools open yearly. They're saying that his plan is a little bit too ambitious.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if I would say a lot of people oppose it. I think there's a lot of vocal opposition. There was a poll that was ran last week, an independent poll. I think it was either like the local CBS or NBC affiliate that polled people on that ballot question and found that over 50% of people supported it, only 25% against, and approximately 25% undecided. So I would say that, if it has to go to the ballot initiative, we feel good about that. But again, I think we much prefer to see a legislative solution. And to your point, I think there have been some very vocal opponents. Some of them, affiliated with teachers' unions, and others who have kind of bought the argument that somehow you can't have great charter schools and have great district schools as well, which on the face of it is a crazy argument, if only because if you look over the last 20 years, two things have happened over the last 20 years as we've had more and more charters in Boston and across the state. One is that per pupil spending in the district has gone up considerably. So not only has total spending gone up in the district, but per pupil spending has kind of skyrocketed in Boston over those 20 years. And two, the performance of Boston Public Schools has improved considerably, at least in part to the fact that charters have been competition to the district. So this argument that somehow you can't support charters and great district schools is a really disingenuous argument, but it's one that a lot of people have kind of been pushing and have gotten far too much kind of general acceptance of that argument, in my own opinion, and not enough questioning and pushback on the validity of that argument.
Now, you guys Brooke just had their lottery.
Yep.
And in the process, how many applicants you had?
We had, I forget the exact number, somewhere between 2,000 and 2,500 applicants for in the neighborhood of 180 spots across all three Brooke schools.
For kindergarten and fifth grade?
Not even fifth grade now, because now we'll accept openings, we'll accept new students in every grade. So every student that leaves, we will replace in grades K to 8, but kindergarten is now the only year where we have a new class of kids coming in every year.
Oh, interesting. And besides the three campuses now, the Board of Education gave a green light to Brooke.
Yes, for a high school recently, which something our families have been demanding for a very long time, and we're super excited about. As you know, our mission is to prepare our kids to get into and succeed in college. And we've been doing that despite the fact that we've only been able to take our kids up through 8th grade. But now to give us that ability to, usher our students all the way up to the doorstep of college, and to make sure that they're getting a rigorous education, and one where they're known and supported and challenged and loved, and to be the ones responsible for that is just an incredibly exciting challenge and opportunity that I think our whole our school communities are super excited about.
Well, definitely. So I'm pretty sure you're looking for teachers.
We're looking for teachers, and we're going through the kind of exciting process of building out that program. And it's something we've been researching certainly for years, visiting high-performing schools all over the country, high schools, talking to whoever we could, with the hope that we would have this opportunity. And got it a little bit sooner, got that opportunity a little bit sooner than we thought, in fact, at many times over the last couple of years. But because we've been kind of thinking about it and doing that work, we're definitely ready to hit the ground running. And we'll open this fall. Our 9th graders will start in August. So
Where is that going to take place?
we're still trying to nail down the temporary location. So we've got, and I'll be able to tell you definitively in another week or two. We have an option on one location that we'll have to exercise one way or the other within a week or two, and we're looking at a couple of others. But wherever it is, it'll be a temporary spot for the first 2 years, while we work to try to identify where our permanent facility would be, and trying to raise money to build that facility. And that remains the biggest challenge, I think, for so many charters in the city, is trying to find space, suitable space. So,
For how many students?
So the high school altogether will be about 600 kids when we get to full size, and it'll have kids from all 3 Brooke campuses, current K-8 campuses, feeding into it.
Great. It would give actually the opportunity for students in the system of the Brooke, the 3 concentrated schools, they will have priority to enter the high school.
Yes, they will. That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And but I'm pretty sure you're happy about getting those 695 seats for high school. However, that number falls short of the number of people that do want to get into charter schools. And some of the things that come to my mind as to why do parents want to send their kids to a charter school?
Yeah. Well, first, to your point, it definitely falls short. So, Brooke was approved to open a high school, as was Neighborhood House Charter School. But Davis Leadership Academy, which is an excellent middle school, charter middle school in Boston right now, in Dorchester, also applied to open a high school. There were not enough seats for the department to also honor their request. KIPP Boston also applied for a high school. Wonderful schools and people and a parent community that desperately wants that high school. They were not allowed or given the opportunity. And again, this is because the cap is in place. And so families who have found the school that they want for their kids and know where they want their kids to go to high school aren't able to send their kids to that high school because of this arbitrary cap that's in place. Not to mention there are other schools that would expand. Boston Prep Charter School, an excellent school located in High Park, wants to expand to add a 5th grade and open the doors to more families, so expand enrollment all the way up 5 through 12. They were not allowed to expand. So yeah, not only is there the kind of hope that we could have even more schools growing out and more great schools coming online in the future, we have specific examples today of schools that would expand and families that want those options that aren't able to do that, and families that aren't able to have that access. So, yeah, and what do families want when they come to a charter school? To answer that question, I think it depends for families. We certainly do a lot of surveying of families. The number one thing that we hear from families is they want a school where their kids are going to be safe. And that particularly comes and hits home around middle school with families. They want to know when they send their kids off to school every day that they're going to go to an environment that is both physically safe and emotionally safe for their kids. But beyond that, they want what every parent wants for their kid. They want to know that their kid is going to be challenged, given the opportunities that they need to succeed academically. And they want to know that their kid is going to be known and appreciated and loved, and just given every opportunity that they know that they see other kids getting in other communities, in many cases that they themselves did not have. So.
Well, this is what we're going to do.